Hello everyone and welcome to Lovella's Coloring. In this video, I will be sharing with you the continuation of the Polar Bear Iceberg page from Fragile World by Kerby Rosanes, and here is my completed coloring. So the mediums that I used for this page are the Prismacolor Premier colored pencils. I have the 150 set. I also used a little bit of acrylic paint, and I also used Posca paint pens. So all of the colors that I used with the Prismacolor Premiers and the paint pens, I will have them listed down below in the video description. Also, I will leave the link up above and also down in the video description, the video where I share how I color the iceberg, which is the first part of my coloring in this book or in this page. So as you watch this video, it will continue as a speed coloring, but I am also voice overing it throughout. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and seeing this page come together. So I will see you in a few seconds. Okay, so here we are. The left side is done, and I'm going to be coloring in the right side of the water. I have 6 Prismacolor pencils that I'm going to use. And the first one I'm going to start off with is the Indigo Blue, which is PC 901. The next color is Copenhagen Blue, which is PC 906. Next color is Cerulean Blue, that is PC 103. Then we have the True Blue, which is PC 903. Next we have Non-Photo Blue, which is PC 919, and the last color is the Sky Blue Light, PC 1086. So with those 6 colors, I will be coloring the right side. I will put up the names of each of the pencils as I use them, and it will be the speed coloring continuing on. So at the same time, I'm going to be lightly adding the colors and trying to match it to the left side to make sure it's even. So here I start off with the Indigo Blue, and I'm just lightly coloring it in. I'm just going to see where I'm going to lay my colors. So I'm starting off with the indigo, and then at the same time looking at the left side to see where I end and where I should continue it on the right side. Next I have the Copenhagen Blue. I'm going over the indigo. Later on, I'm going to be using the Copenhagen Blue over the indigo to smooth it out. So right now, just lightly covering the areas to show where I'm going to be using each of the colors. So this one is Cerulean Blue. And then I have the True Blue overlapping the cerulean, and then next with the non-photo blue, doing the same again, going over a little bit of the top of the True Blue, and then lightly going towards the top. At the top, I'm going to be using the Sky Blue Light, but I'm going to use that at the end when I am blending everything. So here we are. That's how it looks like. And as I continue, I'm going to make sure that the colors are matching to the left side so it looks even and blended. So I'm going to start off with the Indigo Blue, PC 901. So I'm back using the Indigo Blue, which is PC 901. We are coloring the bottom part of the page, the darkest part of the ocean, and I am using medium to heavy pressure. I'm trying not to burnish it, just trying to lay down as much pigment as I can and being careful with the edges of the page. And as I go up towards the next color, the Copenhagen Blue, I'm lightening up on the pressure. So I start off heavy in the bottom, and as I go up towards the Copenhagen color area, I'm lightening up the pressure. So this one does take a little bit longer blending with all the colors in such big area, but the end result, I think, for me looks really great. So I am just trying to make sure as I color each of the colors that it matches the left hand side. So you're going to see that I do stop and go back a color just to blend up some of the colors, trying to even it out with the left hand coloring. So this one I start off with the Copenhagen, and then I stopped and went back with the Indigo Blue when I realized I needed to make it a little bit darker coming up. And so I add a light layer of Indigo Blue. I'm not going heavy. I just want it a little bit darker going up. And then when I check the left-hand side to see if it's even, I go back and use the Copenhagen, going over the area where I laid down the indigo and going up. And hopefully you don't hear music in the background. My kids are watching Moana downstairs. So yeah, so again, heavy pressure, and then as I go up towards the next color area, which I believe is Cerulean Blue, I lighten up the pressure. So here, where I was coloring the indigo, I'm heavy-handed, and so not so much burnishing yet, just going over the area. Going all over, I believe all over the indigo area too. So, and then just going up, trying to even out the color as I go up. So now it's like medium to light pressure as I go up. Checking my left-hand side coloring before I continue. So here I am with the Cerulean Blue, and again going over the lightest portion of where I laid down the Copenhagen to help blend it, and just going up, medium to light as I go up. And yeah. Sorry, I hear my son laughing downstairs. So yeah, so now I'm just smoothing it out, getting some of the white out a little bit. Still not burnishing it yet. So medium here, going light as I go up. And then the next color, I believe, is the non-photo blue. So I'm just smoothing it out. I think I sharpened the pencil there. Trying to get all of the little areas, make it a little bit even. And here, oh, Copenhagen Blue, I went back down. Tried to smooth out the colors from the Copenhagen to Cerulean. Now I'm going to start with the True Blue, going over the lightest area that I laid down with the, what was that color, Cerulean. And again, checking the left-hand side to make sure the layers are matching up. I'm just trying to go around all of the fish. Heavy pressure at the bottom and then going up. So that's how I'm blending in the colors with each other. And again, trying to be careful towards the edges. It's always hard. I tried to color that first. And just kind of, I still have to blend that one area out. And just lightly go towards the top where I'm going to start using the non-photo blue. And I think I'm just trying to smooth it out. Okay, so here I'm going to be using non-photo blue. I had to stop and then come back and record again. I think my hand was cramping, so I had to massage it out. So here we are, blending from the lightest area that I laid down the True Blue, using heavy pressure in that area with the non-photo and then lightening up as I go up towards the top of the water. So I'm going light all the way to the top. So it's the lightest shade of non-photo blue at the top because I'm going to be blending that out with the sky blue light. Yeah, so I'm not burnishing it so that I can go over it with the colors and burnish it then and smooth out the colors as I blend it. Okay, so now I'm back with the PC1086 Sky Blue Light, and I am using heavy pressure now to blend the non-photo blue area and then all the way to the top. Just trying to blend that in and smooth out the colors, especially the area where I lightly colored the non-photo blue on the top. Now I'm coming back in with the PC919 non-photo blue. I'm trying to smooth out the color transition from that color to sky blue light. And then I think I'm going to be slowly going down also, smoothing it out again with sky blue light. Coming in with the true blue. I think I'm trying to smooth out the colors here, but I couldn't remember which color I used, so I'm trying to correct myself. So this area is the Cerulean Blue, and just smoothing it out as much as I can, blending the colors. And then at the same time checking the left hand side to make sure the colors are matching. So I'm back with the true blue, going up and just trying to smooth that transition out. Just blending it in. I think there's also some areas where I didn't press hard down enough, so not enough color was in there. So just trying to even it all out. And slowly, as I blend it out, you'll see some of the white paper, or the white of the paper, the dots that are showing up are going away. So slowly burnishing it. I'm trying to blend the Copenhagen into the cerulean and then blending and smoothing out the area where I colored the indigo blue with the Copenhagen blue. And with such a big space, it does help to stop and look to make sure it's even, and to look close to see if you haven't missed any spots. And yeah. Okay, so here is how the page looks completed, where it's all blended, and I think it matches evenly the left and the right hand side. And so we're going to continue on with the Aurora Borealis portion of this page on the top. So continuing on with the top portion of the page, I did start already on the left hand side and I will complete the rest. I did use several colors that I've used before in a video where I shared how I colored Aurora Borealis. So here are the colors that I used. If you want to pause it and write it down and try it out, I'll also have the colors down below in the video description, and I'll have the link to that video up above and down below. So I have 7 colors to color the top portion. I have black, which is PC935, Indanthrone Blue PC 208, Aquamarine PC 905. Next is Light Aqua PC 992. Next color is Light Green PC 920. And the small one is Gray Green Light, that is PC 289. And the last color is White, which is PC 938. So trying to figure out how to color the top portion because of all of those hash marks and the horizon, how I was going to color it. I did look through Google trying to get ideas, how I'm going to color it, especially, the horizon, how am I going to blend it up. So I'm still going to be using a lot of the same colors, but it does help, looking through Google, get some ideas from different pictures and trying to see how you'd want to apply it onto your page. So this is just my way of getting ideas and transferring it here to this page. So now I'm coming in with the PC 935 black, and I use it to lightly color the edges or the corners of the page where I am coloring the sky, and that's going to be the darkest portion. And that's just the under base color that I put down so that when I lay down the Indanthrone Blue, the PC 208, those corners are going to be the darkest. The Indanthrone Blue is the color that I'm going to use for the rest of the sky. So I'm lightly coloring it first to be careful with the corners. And then I'm going to start coming in with a heavier pressure. And as I color it in, I'm at the same time shaping how the Aurora borealis is going to look, trying to make it smooth. I'm going to be going over it again later on, so I'm applying where the sky is going to be seen. So I add a little bit of blue there. Again, it's helping to shape the borealis, and I'm just going around it, seeing where I'm like tracing where I'm going to color the Indanthrone Blue. Just laying that all down, and then I'm going to do the rest. Here's a little bit faster with a time lapse, and yeah, heavy pressure going down, then getting lighter as I go down. So I wasn't sure where I'm going to lay the colors of the horizon yet, or how far up it will go. So I start off heavy on the top and then lighter as I go down, trying to decide where it's going to end. So if I decide to just go that far and light as I go down, and then I'm going to be burnishing in the rest of the Indanthrone Blue here. And then just smoothing out, straightening how the horizon's going to blend into the sky. Okay, so now I'm going to be coming in with the light green PC 920. I'm going heavy, blending the light green into the Indanthrone Blue, and light as I go down, because I'm going to be using, I believe, the gray green light there to smooth it out all the way up to the Indanthrone Blue, cleaning out my pencil, because once you hit the blue, if you color again over the lighter areas, it's going to bring that color down, which I think I did a couple times. So just trying to clean it up, especially cleaning up your pencils as you use them going into the blue. So I am back, just adding a little bit of Indanthrone Blue, then coming in with a light green. I think I'm just using like a medium pressure, then going hard as I blend into the blue. And then trying to remember to clean my pencil before I start a new area, so I'm not dragging the blue where I don't want it to go. So medium to heavy pressure on that area to blend it, and then coming in with the PC289 gray-green light, cleaning the pencil as I do a heavy pressure, blending all the way up into the Indanthrone Blue, and trying to make sure that I'm trying to keep the horizon looking like it's even. It doesn't have to look exact. Could be clouds back there or something, but just as long as it's looks like it's connected. I'm just cleaning up with the Indanthrone Blue. Again, checking both sides to make sure that kind of even. So here's how the sky looks now with that portion done. Just trying to see and make sure the horizon looks like it's even. Then we're going to continue on with the Aurora borealis. Going to be using the greens that I shared earlier. Starting off with the Aquamarine, which is PC 905. So right now I'm laying it on the top portion of the borealis with a little bit of, I think, medium to light pressure. And then next I'm using light aqua, going over the aquamarine, the bottom portion of it, and just laying it in the middle of the borealis. Same light medium pressure. And then light green to cover the whole thing, all three colors all together. I think just medium pressure now, just laying over it. Trying not to hit the Indanthrone Blue so that I don't bring it down and smear it. I don't want to do that yet. And I think I was sharpening something or switching. So now I'm going to be using the gray-green light PC289, and I'm blending all of the colors together using the gray-green light, trying to smooth it out, trying to be careful again not to hit the blue, cleaning out my pencil as I go along because I'm using heavy pressure now. So a lot of the pigment as I'm blending it gets collected on the tip of the pencil. So just making sure to clean up my pencil as I go. And yeah, really trying not to spread the blue too much into the borealis. There, I'm smoothing out that area between the aquamarine area and the Indanthrone Blue. Trying to make it as even and try to look the same as how I colored it on the left-hand side. Again, smoothing it out, checking on the left-hand side, is it looking the same? Next, I'm coming in, I think I'm using the white next. Yes, white PC 938. Again, you doing the same thing as I did with the gray-green light. Just going over and smoothing it out as much as I can. Trying not to hit the blue. And yeah, I can't help myself, I do anyways. And just trying to blend the Aurora borealis portion into the sky, trying to make a smooth blend. Okay, so After coloring it and looking at it, I realized that the right hand side was too pale and the left hand side was a little bit brighter, so I come back with the Aquamarine to add a little bit more color to the right hand side, try to make it even as close as I can to how it looks on the left hand. And in a bit, I'll be sharing how I cover the black lines. So I'm just trying to I'm going to start evening out the colors. So here I'm in with the light Aqua PC 992, blending the Aquamarine down as much as I can. And with all that pigment that I'm brushing off, I end up vacuuming up with my little vacuum. You might see it in this video once, I don't know, once in a while. I think I do bring it out. Again, just trying to brighten up the borealis on the right side. Now I'm coming in with the Indanthrone Blue, and I'm just cleaning up that area where I think I need to clean it up and add more color. So here's how the page looks with the top portion of the page complete, the Aurora Borealis. I'm going to now be covering up the lines, and I did some tests. I did one where I covered black lines with Posca, and then the other one where I didn't, and you can see that the black line, you can see right through it, even though I add more acrylic paint on top of it. So I decided to go ahead and use the white Posca pen to cover the lines first before I add a light green pastel color looking acrylic that I will mix together. I'm going to use this Maggie Holmes brand, which is a pastel green color that I picked up, I think sometime last year. I haven't used yet. I have this leaf green color from the Delta brand. I think you get that from Target. And I have white apple barrel. So they are all matte acrylic paint, and I'll be mixing up a color to use on the Aurora Borealis. But first I'm going to use the white Posca pen to cover up all the hash marks. So here is how the page now looks with the black hash marks on the Aurora Borealis covered up with the white Posca. And now I'm going to start mixing the 3 acrylic colors that I shared and create a color that I can use on the bottom portion of the Borealis. And I'm going to be using these plastic condiment cup and lid to mix, but for this portion I'm going to be using the lid to mix the colors. So I am not the best at mixing acrylics. I'm not good at portions and how much to add to your palette to mix them. So as you try to figure out what color you want to use, especially in the bottom portion of this Aurora Borealis, definitely test it out on a scrap piece of paper to see how it looks and what to add to make it the color that you want on your coloring page. So I finally have the color that I want to use on the Aurora Borealis. I am now using a dry flat brush, and with one corner of the brush I am picking up the color to drag it from the bottom of the Borealis up and to fade it into the light aqua. I sometimes turn my brush around just to lightly fan it out, and as I go through, I am trying to cover all of the white Posca lines. And also as I go through, I clean out my brush on a scratch paper just to make sure that the acrylic paint doesn't build up on the bristles, and then it'll make it a little bit easier for me to fan out the color so it can fade into the light aqua. So here's how it now looks with the acrylic over the Aurora Borealis complete. Now we're going to start on the polar bears, and the colors that I will use are the Slate Grey PC 936, Blue Slate PC 1024, Sky Blue Light PC 1086, and then I also used a light green PC 920. So I'm now using the Slate Grey 936 for the darkest portion of the polar bear, and it's just the shaded area. So Kerby Rosanes already added some hash marks to show where the shadows are, so I'm just defining it, I guess, with the Slate Grey because it's nighttime, so I'm trying to color it as dark as I think it will be, or the bears will be, being white and in the dark. And then I realized the Aurora Borealis, so I come out with the light green PC 920 on the areas that I think will be highlighted, and just adding it on the points that where I think it will be reflected. Now I come back with the Slate Grey 936, just continuing, stopping, and then looking, and then go back and add where I think I will need more shadow. And just trying to tell myself that it's okay if it's a little bit dark because it is nighttime. And then I'll start using the Blue Slate PC 1024. So going over the Slate Grey and then just blending it out, not totally covering it. So I'm just using the Blue Slate to shadow it a little bit more. And then I come in with the Sky Blue Light PC 1086, and now I'm going over all of it and just smoothing it all out. And then after I smooth it all out, I'm going to come back with the Slate Grey and just darken it up a little bit more where I think it needs it. And then I think that should be complete with the polar bears. So now we are going to start and color the middle portion, that is the top of the water. I'm going to be using colors from both the Aurora Borealis and the one that I use for the water. So I'm going to start off with PC 901 Indigo Blue, coloring in part of the shaded portion that Kerby already put hash marks in. So I'm using that as the dark part of the top of the water. I'm going to be using two other colors, which is the Copenhagen Blue and the Cerulean Blue, to blend it all out. So here I am just looking for all the shaded areas and where I'm going to apply it, especially where the polar bear iceberg is. Now I'm using Copenhagen Blue, going over the indigo and then spreading it out, leaving a little bit of space to finish it out with the Cerulean Blue. So I'm just blending it out, going through each one. So after that, I am bringing out the Cerulean Blue, going over all of the colors. And I think as I was going through this, I realized that the Cerulean Blue kind of like made it look a little bit too bright for me, so I do go back over it with the Indigo Blue PC 901. So if you're doing this portion, you can probably skip the Cerulean Blue and just stay with the Indigo and the Copenhagen. So now, yeah, I'm going back over it and just adding a little bit of the Indigo to add a little bit more of that shadow that I had earlier. So now I'm going to be using the PC 920 light green, and I'm going back over the icebergs that I did in the other video. I felt like I need to add a little bit more green, so just going in, adding that hint of green to the icebergs, and then now onto the white area of the top of the water. And just a little bit in each section because I'm going to be blending that out too. So a little bit of green, light green on the top of the waves. And I think I leave a little bit of the section in the middle because I felt like maybe the iceberg is blocking the light from the Aurora borealis. So I colored that one of the blue colors. So I just left that open. And I'm using blue slate there. That's the color that I use for the top of the wave. And then now I'm coming in with the sky blue light to go over the blue slate. And now I'm using the gray green light, PC 289, to just lightly blend over the light green. That pencil is very small, but yeah, I use that color a lot to blend. And I think at this point I looked at it and I thought I should add a little bit more color, so I picked up the light Aqua PC 992 to add a little bit more of the green from the borealis. So now we are going to start working on the seals. So with the seals, I used 3 different shades of cool gray. I used the 90%, 50%, and the 20%. And then I'll have those PC numbers on the left-hand side for each of those gray, cool gray colors. And I think I tried with each of the seal to color them a little bit differently from each other. Some are darker, some are lighter than each other. I think one of them had spots on it. But they're all the same 3 colors, so. So now I'm going to start coloring the rest of the polar bear iceberg using non-photo blue PC 919 and just coloring the areas that I think would be shaded using the help with the hash marks that Kerby Rosanes already laid out in this illustration. For the darkest areas, I'm using Periwinkle PC 1025 and just trying to decide where to add the shadows. And then again, using all of the hash marks that Kerby already used, using that as a guideline to where to apply it, to know where to apply it. And that just helps, I think, define where the crevices are of the iceberg. Now I am using blue Slate PC 1024, blending out from the periwinkle that I just laid down. I think by this point I'm trying to make sure I colored in each of the areas and not missing anything. So now I'm coming back with a non-photo blue, and you'll probably realize I used the non-photo blue also in the water, so it kind of like ties it in using some of the same colors like the sky blue light PC 1086, using that to blend all the colors, just leaving some highlighted areas. And then I complete the iceberg. Then I'm going over with Indanthrone Blue to clean up some areas. Then the black PC 935 for the eyes to darken some of the details from the polar bear and the seals. And then now I'm going to be using the silver Posca. The size of the silver Posca is 1 mr, and I decided to use that for the school of fish because it kind of reminds me of like when you see those documentary of the fish just flowing underneath the water. It's just reflecting any light. So I thought the silver Posca would be best to use, plus it's faster. So we are going to continue with the rest of the details for this page. I pulled out the white Posca 1M and 1mr, but I believe for most of this page I used the 1M. I try to make sure I shake it so the paint covers up the black lines on the igloo, the top of the water, and the bubbles. And yeah, so you can see the silver Posca reflecting, especially the blend from the Prismacolors. But yeah, so we will start covering up the black lines with the white Posca. So I'm going over the areas that I have already covered with the white Posca. Usually when I do a page like this, I work on the background first before I would work on like the main area, especially working with Prismacolor. It's just a lot easier for me. So in this one, now I'm trying to cover the lines, but the Posca I'm using right now is running out. I can tell because I can't even get any white paint to come out when I'm pressing it down. So I run and get a new one, and then after that I was able to breeze through the page and cover up all the black lines from the bubbles and the igloo. And trying to make sure I cover the lines that I want covered. And yeah, looking really nice. So now that all the lines are covered with the white Posca, the final detail that I'm going to add to this page will be a splattering of white acrylic paint for the night sky and for the bubbles for the school of fish. So I apply a little bit of the white acrylic paint to the edge of the condiment cup. I have a damp toothbrush, picked up some of the acrylic paint. I don't want a dripping wet toothbrush. I use just a damp one, and with my finger I flick the bristles of the toothbrush so it'll give like a fine splattering of the white acrylic paint, and it gives a nice effect to look like the night sky. It's a lot of fun splattering it in there. A little messy, but lots of fun. So I do the night sky, and then I do the school of fishes to make it look like bubbles coming from them. So the first school there, and then the second one. And then the third school of fish. I believe I add a little bit more on the night sky. I thought I should add a little bit more up there. But yeah, I really love the effects of just splattering paint. And I think I have a lot more control this way. So here is the completed coloring of this polar bear iceberg page. So happy with it. I love how the Prismacolors colored on this paper. I love the shine that it leaves after blending all the colors. And it was a little bit challenging trying to figure out how I was going to color the Aurora borealis, how I was going to cover up those black lines. And it was a lot of testing on another paper, but I was still unsure of how it was going to turn out when I finally did it on this page. So overall, I'm just very, very happy with how it looks. And yeah, let me go ahead and share with you how it looks without the Posca pens that I added, and see if you can see a big difference between no Posca pens and with the Posca pens. For me, I do like it with the Posca pen. It brightens up the picture. It's a lot more shadowed without it. But regardless, you know, I am going to have to finish it with the Posca pen outlining because I've already done it on this side. So yeah, I don't think I would have been able to leave it as is anyways. But yeah, again, so happy with it. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this page come together. I hope you like it. And yeah, I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. So please take care, keep safe, and happy colorings, my friends. Bye-bye.